3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. This is Locked On Sports Minnesota. This is Friday. We're new. We're going live. This is something new we're trying. But I'm Ron Johnson. I got Reggie Wilson joining me from Care 11. I got Julia Daniels. And for those, the everydayers you guys watch, but for the guys checking in now on the live stream, we're going to check your questions out. Sam will keep an eye on that. If any comments, questions, whatever. But Julia might, her cat normally joins us. We don't know if that's going to happen today. But we got Sam Ekstrom as well, the producer who does it all. Again, I'm Ron Johnson. It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's Friday, yeah. It's Saturday, Sunday. What?
Fat waffles.
It was Fat Waffle Friday. My daughter's first high school game is today. So, of course, I had to make sure she got Fat Waffle. She requested them last night. So I had to get up early, make the batter, and flip the waffles. They were good. I only had a quarter of one, but they were good. Got them off to school. But today's topics, let's talk about the sports world right now, everybody. The Timberwolves making a push in the playoffs, trying to get that number 1 seed. Stephon Diggs, he's off to new horizons in Texas. We got basketball players that don't like each other. We got college basketball players that want to transfer. Haley Van Lith. It's a lot of sports stuff going on, but we got to get locked in on this show today, man. So what you got for me, Reggie?
The Twins home opener. It happened. And with that performance, they hope it never happens again. We're talking about it coming up.
And the draft is in 20 days, y'all. What are we most confident is going to happen in this super unpredictable draft world that we live in here in Minnesota?
And of course, Final Four this weekend. We're talking about it. If you know anything about me, you know who I'm rooting for, but we'll get to that later.
Alabama's not that good. I'm so annoyed by them. I wanted Duke to be in there. But anyway, we got to talk about the Wolves because the Wolves playoff push. We've already kind of talked about this. The Wolves playoff push. I know Reggie wants to talk about the Lakers, but there's also the Thunder. There's the Nuggets. There's the Suns. There's the Mavs. The West is quote unquote, and this is by a couple, got Perkins, one of them, is the tougher of the divisions. I think nobody can disagree with that. So we're going to talk about who has the toughest playoff path and who might have the easiest if they get the Lakers. But no, we're not going to do that to Reggie today. But again, I'm Ron Johnson. This is Locked On Sports Minnesota. This is the Friday Roundtable, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers today, new customers. Check it out. You will get $200 in bonus bets. If you have not, if you've been on FanDuel just because you like odds, but you haven't been able to make your first bet, if you're going to Chicago, like I just did, or you're going to Colorado, or you're going to Iowa, go ahead and make that first bet. You'll get $5 or more. So whatever you bet, you can bet as little as $5. If you win, you will win $200 in bonus bets, which is like free rolling. Now that's house money. Bet on the Timberwolves playing a terrible basketball team. You should have bet it all on the Raptors. We could have probably bet $5,000 on the Timberwolves versus the Raptors. I don't know what the spread was, but I'm pretty sure they covered because they beat them by almost a 40 ball. But again, this is the Friday Roundtable, and it's time to get started now. Reggie, take it away.
Yeah, so the Twins, much anticipated home opener was yesterday at Target Field, and the vibes were immaculate. We had beautiful weather, everybody was feeling good, and then the game happened. And it's interesting because I talked to Denard Span, and we'll have a little bit more from him coming up tonight on Care 11, and I asked him, okay, pitching staff, reason to be concerned. He was like, no, I think they'll figure it out. And then Pablo comes out and has a bit of a shaky start, and I mentioned this to Julia yesterday. If Pablo is not going to be pitching well, they may be in some trouble, but it's still early. So we can't just, panic yet, even though I feel like there is a panic meter on Twitter by the Twins fans right now. So we'll see. But then also, we saw a performance where they got blanked on Sunday by the Royals. 11 runs scored on them, and they couldn't score anything. And I'm like, all right. Then the next game against Milwaukee, they strand all those runners on base, and you're like, I don't know. But then they come out the next game against Milwaukee, have the huge 7th inning. Ryan Jeffers goes yard, and it's like, okay, cool. They got the mojo back. And then they come out with the opener yesterday, 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position. They strand the bases loaded several times. 15 strikeouts. After the game, our guy Doe, he asked Carlos Correa, like, hey, you all went 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position. And Carlos like, is that what it was? 0 for 12? I don't know what to tell you.
Well, one thing I do know about baseball is similar to softball, and that's why Oklahoma Sooners girls softball team has always been one of the best in the country because they find ways to get the scores home. Now, I just watched a highlight of like the best 10 baseball bunts in like MLB history. A lot of them are lefties because they can do it quick without you realizing they're about to bunt, but it is amazing when the shift is on. And so I don't know I didn't watch the game, not going to lie. So I don't know what the bunting situation looked like for the lefties specifically, but you got to find ways to put fielders in like a bad predicament where you're going to do a suicide bunt score. You're going to bunt. He's going to come, like, especially if it's less than 2 outs. But Sam, with all that said, Reggie laid it out perfectly. What do you think the record is going to be? Because I know in the past we've been like, 100 wins. What do you think right now? Game 1, let's overreact. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think at 3-3, I think they're actually lucky to be where they are right now because the offense has been horrible and they've still won 3 games because of their pitching. So I'm not totally off the bandwagon yet. This feels to me like another frustrating team in the sense that they are going to not play to their potential. We're going to have veterans like Max Kepler having these month-long power outages. We're not going to get exactly what we expected from some of the young guys like Wallner and Julian that we expected to take a step because it doesn't work that way. It's not linear the way they progress. So I sense it's going to be a frustrating start to the season. And I also sense that the AL Central might not be as feeble as we thought. The Guardians seem to be pretty good. Maybe the Tigers are sneaky surprising. I mean, there were moments last year where they were kind of on the rise. So there could be a couple teams to contend with. I think the Twins are at worst an 85-win operation. And best case 90. I think 85-90 is your target. You hope to be there. And that probably wins you the Central, but I think it's going to be more of a battle down the stretch this year than it was last year. That's my early gut feeling.
Well, Julia, I got a question for you. If you look at that, so I'm going to let you predict the wins, but also, do you have a cause for concern or could you care less? When you think about this, the Twins beat the Royals 4-1, 5-1, and then lost 11-0. I don't know if you've ever been in a fight, but if you get hit 11 times and you don't hit the other person back, you got your butt whooped. Like, you got absolutely shellacked.
Did you at least pinch them?
Did you at least pinch them? Now, they did split with the Brewers. They made it back. Like, they went 3-2 against the Brewers and then 7-3. But, Julia, is that a cause for concern that in certain games like that, like after winning twice and then you give up 11, could you care less? Because it's only, like I said, it's early. They only have one home opener so far. They got the Guardians again tomorrow, and then they have them one more time on Sunday, April 7th at 1:10 p.m. Could you care less, or are you concerned?
I mean, we're 6 games into the season, so it's like, I think we like to draw bold conclusions at this point in the year because it's fun, but Sam's right. I think we're going to go through some frustrating times before we really see the production that the Twins team can have. I think they have a lot of potential, but they also have a lot to work out because this team doesn't look the same as it did last year. But I think what they're going to do is, and they've said it, is they, in terms of the bats, have a lot of confidence in their younger guys, but it's going to, Matt Wallner and Edward Julian, they've never been at a Twins home opener before. They've never done any of this kind of stuff. They never started a season on the roster. This is all new to them. So, and baseball's a mind game. So I think it's gonna be a minute before they really get into the groove of things. I think they have a rotation that they have to figure out too. I think confidence is lacking there. But I don't think there's reason to be concerned at this point in the year. And I also think when it comes to, seeing where they finish in the AL Central, obviously Cleveland looks good. They kind of knew what to expect. Rocco said that they were expecting kind of a game like what they had yesterday. It was a little weirder than usual, but they knew that they could hit that way, and they knew they could possibly hit that way against Pablo once you got through the first few innings. But yeah, I don't think anybody should be concerned yet. It's fun to speculate and act like everyone's concerned. I'm sure the diehard Twins fans are freaking out at this moment because that's just how that works. But I don't think so. I think like when it comes to Detroit, they haven't played anybody yet. So for you're 6 games in, you do your thing, whatever. But is it 6 games? Did I make that up?
3 and 3.
Yep, 3 and 3.
Yeah. So no. My answer to that is no. No reason to be concerned. I think they have a process that they know they're going to go by, but it's going to take a while, and it's a long season. So.
How many wins do you think they'll get?
I had them going 88 and 74.
Ooh. Reggie, how many wins do you think they'll get?
I'm kind of with Sam. I think somewhere in between that 85 and 90. When I asked Chris Paddock before the season during spring training, he said 100. So, that's pretty lofty.
He better get 12 or 15 himself.
Yeah, he's got to will him in. He's got that mullet he's sporting now, and it's mullet power for the win. One thing I will say, Ron, though, a positive. Carlos Correa was asked about his health, and he's like, "Look, man, I was kind of playing with one leg last year," and he says a night and day difference. He's out there running better. And what I will say, he's hitting 368 so far with 3 RBI. He went 3 for 4 yesterday. Really strong day yesterday. He just couldn't get any help getting brought in when he got on base.
Bunt. They need to bunt. That's what I talked to my daughter about this morning. She's a really good hitter. I think she's going to lead off today, which I'm not really excited about as a high school 7th grader playing high school varsity. I didn't think she should lead off in her first high school game. So I'm hoping the coach changes her mind because, coaches can change their mind up until whatever. But I told her, I said, hey, don't be afraid to bunt because you're going against, I think this pitcher today she's facing is 17 years old. And my daughter is 12. So this should be very interesting. But I will say this. So I heard the Reggie 100 wins. I heard the Sam's 80, Julia's 80-ish, Sam's 80-ish. I looked at kind of the historical numbers. I'm not going to go way back. Right before COVID, I think they won 100 plus games, or right after COVID. I think it was right before COVID. COVID season, they won 36. 78 wins twice in like this little 6-year span I looked up. The biggest difference in those seasons, health. So I struggle right now with like 2 guys already getting hurt. Like I'm nervous. And so I'm scared to even go in the 80s. Like my heart has been like, I was nervous about the Timberwolves when Karl-Anthony Towns got hurt and they've kind of stuck to it. Like but then Anthony Edwards kind of almost got hurt, just like stop, Kirk Cousins, Achilles, like stop playing with us. So what I will say, I will give them, I hate to say it right now. I'm going to start low. I'm going to go 78 wins. I'm going to start low, but I'm also thinking that.
How many wins for the Tigers, Ron? How many wins?
200. The Tigers are going to go undefeated and play extra games for no reason. No, again, so it's early on. And like I haven't been a Tigers fan since Verlander, so I got to kind of like keep an eye on it. I wear the hat just because it's the D hat. And so people know I'm from Detroit. But I do like going to a Detroit Twins series. So I'm looking forward to those. But other than that, like the Tigers, I think around the same, I think like 75 wins for the Tigers. Like, I just don't think I think the Timberwolves, the Twins, my hope is that they don't let the rest of their division kind of throw them off. Like, just because everybody else is kind of middle of the road, don't be afraid to be great. Like, don't be afraid to just go out there and beat people. I know there's some load management stuff in baseball. Pitchers don't pitch a lot. So let's just stay healthy. If they stay healthy, I do say 85. But if they can't, I think more like in that 78, 75-ish range. Like they have to stay healthy, and that's going to be the key for this. Hopefully, Carlos Correa has 2 legs because playing on one leg is not fun. It's not. I've tried it. It doesn't work. But we got dogs. But we got to talk about the NFL draft. We got to talk about the Wolves because they're going to play the Lakers and the Suns, and we know Reggie wants to talk about all of that. We'll do that after a word from our sponsors.
Brought to you today by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this. Now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match, and this offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer.
Heck
Well-
yes, Sam. Heck yeah.
Well, now it's time to talk about the NFL draft because there's a lot of going on now. So there's draft picks being used for trades. We know Stephon Diggs. The Vikings ended up basically, I think the Texans now use, like the Bills use their draft pick and that the Vikings pick eventually. So this Stephon Diggs draft pick is just moving. It's just moving places. It doesn't really want to sit down anywhere, but it's on the move again. But the Patriots, they're lying. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. I'm going to be honest with y'all out there. Let us know in the comments if y'all think the Patriots are lying. I think this whole JJ McCarthy love affair with the Patriots is all BS. I think they are lying. I think they are lying through their teeth. I think they are trying to just up that price and say like, oh, I really love them. And just so that the Vikings feel like oh, they were going to take them. So we got to offer them everything to get that third pick. I don't really think that was in the cards for Belichick. Now, I could be wrong, but with the third pick, I assumed it was going to be somebody else. I assumed it could be Drake May, but maybe I'm wrong in that. But maybe the Vikings have a different pick as well. Maybe Kwesi is playing hide the peanut himself. But Sam, NFL draft, 20 days away. What's going on?
Yeah, the rumor mill is running rampant. You can't go a day without a new rumor, a new whisper popping up on Twitter that's just stirring the pot. The only thing that we know for sure is that Caleb Williams is going number 1. Everything beyond that is up in the air. We don't know who's going 2. We don't know who's going 3. We don't know who's going 4. And we don't know who's going to be picking in those spots because of all the trade possibilities. Well, my question to all of you, myself included, what thing are you most confident is actually going to happen with all this conjecture? For me, I don't think the Patriots are trading out. I think the Patriots are full of it. Like, you're really going to pass up the chance with the third pick in the draft to not take one of these quarterbacks in an elite quarterback class. You've been starved at QB since Brady. Mac Jones is traded. Is Jacoby Brissett really going to be your guy? Are you really going to go tank mode and risk not getting someone in 2025 in a worse quarterback draft? I would be flabbergasted if the Patriots, even if they get a nice little haul in the deal, if they don't pick at number 3 a quarterback in this draft, I think they're going to pick. I think that fan base needs a quarterback in there. That team needs a new quarterback to latch their hopes to. The Patriots are picking at 3. So I think the Vikings need to trade with the Cardinals at 4 because I don't know about number 3. That just seems, if the price on that would have to be so exorbitant, I think, for the Patriots to cave. I'd rather just get up to number 4.
Well, everydayers, you guys know we need you to do something. Use the word flabbergasted today. Thank you, Sam, for the word of the day. Use the word flabbergasted at work, in your everyday, and tweet us. Locked On Sports Minnesota. Tweet us and let us know how you use flabbergasted. If you can give us a video of yourself using flabbergasted, that's double the points. But Sam, you bring up some good points. I think I love the specific nature in that the Patriots are lying. I agree. I do think they're lying. There's no way you don't want to get a quarterback. I mean, now I'm not hating on Jacoby Brissett. He's good, but there's no way. But Julia, what are your thoughts on this NFL draft?
No, I thought the same thing since those rumors came out. I didn't think the Patriots were going anywhere with their pick. I'm going to go the Vikings route with what I'm confident about. And bear with me. I'm most confident that we won't know what the Vikings are going to do until draft day. I think they run such a tight ship over there. Tight lips, nothing. We're not going to hear anything. Just like last year, a few people guessed Jordan Addison would be the pick, but no one was confident in what the Vikings were going to do until about 2 minutes before it was announced. I also think that KOC has the most power in this decision. I think what happened in his first draft when they drafted Lewis Cine and Andrew Booth, I don't think things went to his plan. And I think the understanding last year was when they picked Jordan Addison, Kevin O'Connell was like, thank you for sticking to the plan that we had. And I think it worked out well for them. So my specific take that I'm confident in is that we really won't know who the Vikings or where they'll move to. But I do think that Kevin O'Connell will have the final say in what they choose and what they do. I think that they kind of let him have the reins last year, and I honestly think it worked out pretty well for them.
Reggie.
All right, so I saw the report saying that there was a big Vikings contingent going to Seattle for Michael Penix Jr. You know what? The more and more things happen, the more that I am convinced that the Vikings will not trade up. They will just keep the picks at 11 and 23. And at 11, they will go ahead and draft Michael Penix Jr. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but Penix just seems to be undervalued in the draft. I don't know if it was the national championship game, because after that semifinal game in the playoff, it was like, oh man, this dude is amazing. And then he comes out in the championship game, doesn't have one of his best performances, and everybody's just like, I don't know about him, the injury history. And it's just like all of a sudden they're pointing out all of his flaws. But I was talking to Matthew Collar about this the last time we were at the Vikings facility. And we both agree, like, when you look at Caleb Williams, wild throws, wild plays. When you look at Drake May, you see the physical attributes, wild plays. When you look at JJ McCarthy, he was steady. He won. Didn't really seem like Harbaugh trusted him to do a whole lot. I don't understand trading up in the draft for him. I just don't. I don't see it. So I think that the Vikings were doing their due diligence, went ahead and went to Seattle to see what they could see. You know, Keenan McCardell already got a chance to look at him at the Senior Bowl and some of the other Vikings staff. I've been banging the table for this since the season was happening. I just feel like, and he already has the purple do-rag that he wears all the time. It just fits. And then you get to keep your 23rd pick and have another premium pick, maybe along the defensive line or something like that. And that's how you build a team. I just don't know that you mortgage the future for JJ McCarthy. He just seems like one of the best of the rest and not like one of the top guys.
Real quick question for everybody. Reggie, you said this. Steady Eddie. Made plays. Didn't make a lot of mistakes. Did exactly what Harbaugh asked him to do. Sat back in the pocket, checked out when he needed to. Ran the ball, wasn't afraid to run the ball. Didn't have any consternation about it. If you could do the draft over again and you had a chance to draft Brock Purdy at number 11, do you draft or move up to get Brock Purdy? Knowing what you know, would you, I'll start with you, Sam, would you move up in the draft to get Brock Purdy in the first round?
That is a really tough question because he was almost not drafted at all.
Correct.
So it's not as if it's not as if anyone was truly considering it, but like, yeah, if you could go back in time, knowing what you know, yeah, of course, he'd be a first round pick, 100%. I'm trying to remember who went in that year's first round, but if you redrafted, he's probably what, 1 or 2, right? Like, I don't even know if 11 gets him if you went back in time. So yeah, I would love to have that type of quarterback because he can use his legs without being fully dependent on his legs. He's a very versatile quarterback. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that type.
Julia, would you draft Brock Purdy in the first round?
You said knowing what we know now?
Knowing what you know now. So you know everything that's going to happen. You know exactly how he's going to be. You know he's going to get hurt in his rookie season at some point in your season. But would you draft Brock Purdy in the first round?
Does everyone know that now?
Everybody knows that. So some of the early draft picks, I'll tell you.
I was going to say, if no one else knew, then no, you save money, you draft him later. But
no, everybody knows though. Yeah, everybody knows he's the greatest. So here's the thing about that draft class, Sam.
Kenny Pickett was the only one taken in the first round.
That's what I was going to say. The first round that year in 2022, there was not a lot of draft picks for quarterbacks early. It was Aiden Hutchinson. It was Sauce Gardner. It was Derek Stingley. It was Trayvon Walker. It was Kevin Thibodeau, Evan Neal, O-tackle. After that, Drake London at receiver, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jamison Williams, Jordan Davis. I mean, Kyle Hamilton, which the Vikings should have got him. Keon Green. I mean, it was Johan Dotson from Penn State. It was a ton of weapons that year that everybody was kind of like back and forth of like, what should we do? You got George Karlaftis from Purdue. I mean, it was no, but then when you think about what's that team? The Andrew Booth Jr. picked by the Vikings. We know that. You got what? Louis Cine, I think. Yep, Louis Cine was our guy. If the Steelers could do it all over again, I guarantee they would draft Brock Purdy in the first round instead of Kenny Pickett. So that was the other part of it. Like Kenny Pickett at Pitt did not look good. The only thing that made him famous was the fake slide. And so knowing what we know, that's why I kind of say, like, I personally, I wouldn't mind going up there. I wouldn't mind going up and getting a guy like JJ McCarthy because I feel like he fits that Brock Purdy. He's not flashy. He's not giving you a ton. But honestly, Reggie, your point about what's his name? Lefty. If he wasn't left-handed either, he would be a first-round pick easily. Like I don't think anybody would question a right-handed guy of his caliber. The lefty just always looks weird to me. I don't know if it's their throwing angle. I did hear though left-handers. And sorry because I lost track. I know Reggie's gone, Sam's gone. Julie, you haven't gone on this topic, or have you?
I did.
Okay. When you think about the lefties, this is what I heard, and this is in pitching as well for softball. I don't know about baseball. Because of the heart, the rib cage is bigger on this side because of your heart. So lefties kind of have to like figure out how to move around, whereas a right-hander is not as much. Like that's what I heard. It's how we're built. That's why the majority of the world is right-handed, because God was like, we're all gonna be right-handed. And then he's like, oh, whoa, okay. Well, some of you are left-handed now. So I don't know what to do with that.
I'm flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted at this information.
Yes.
Adam and Eve are right-handed.
We've talked about this. Whenever they do the flip and they throw right-handed,
I've seen that.
They did that beautiful.
They did that with him and Tua. It's weird.
Beautiful.
It does. It's weird, but it looks beautiful. So maybe that's just our minds because we're not used to seeing lefties. That could be part of it. Because like I don't know. But again, he can run, he can move. He's a little bit older though. So I know Jordan Reed, we're going to get Jordan Reed on the Ron Johnson show. He's coming on. He always, every year he's come on our show, he's talked about that, the age thing. JJ McCarthy is young. So by the time it's time for his second contract, he'll only be like 26. Whereas how old is Jaden Daniels? Or not Jaden Daniels, sorry. Michael Penix.
24?
Is he 24, 23, 24? Because I know he's at Indiana. I felt like when like Carter Coughlin was at Indiana or at Minnesota. And so
he's almost 24. He turns 24 in May.
So think about that. After 3 to 4 years, he's already 28. If you sign him to a 5-year deal, he's 30. So his second deal is going to be Kirk Cousins' like third deal. Like, you know, that's what you have to remember. Like, can he play till 40? Probably not. So how many years are you getting out of this first round pick? 5, maybe 6. And I think that's the other part of that. Like, do you want to waste 6 years on a Michael Penix, or do you want to go get JJ McCarthy knowing you'll have 9 because he'll be 30 in his 9th or 10th year? So again, my hot take, I think that they're going to sit at 11. I don't know if it's going to work out for them, but I think they're going to sit at 11. I think they do believe what Reggie is saying too, that there's enough good quarterbacks in this draft. Let's sit at 11 and let's get some more value at 23. Let's do something nobody's thinking we're going to do. We have a bunch of quarterbacks on our board. Let's take the one we like that falls to us versus forcing the issue, because we force the issue and it doesn't work, we look stupid.
But Ron, that's probably Penix though, who's falling.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I'm like, I'm okay with that. Like if he falls to you, you didn't waste a ton of draft capital to go get him, and you still can get 23 go get you another weapon, whether it's a running back, which I don't think you should get a running back in the first round, but I think defensively for Brian Flores' defense, you can go get a dynamic like D tackle. You can go get you maybe a cornerback that's going to be sitting there from Alabama. Yeah, I think like 2 first-round picks could help you out. Like you see how the Lions kind of built their team with a bunch of first-round picks. Sometimes it's better to just get the value than trying to reach and shoot for the stars and miss. Because if they shoot for JJ and miss, whew, it's going to be like the Bears with Mitchell Trubisky. It's
So you like JJ more, but you would rather
I like him at 11.
Value and okay, you'd love him at 11.
I don't love him at 3.
11, but you don't want to trade up. Got it.
I don't like him at 3. I don't personally. I don't like him. If the Patriots want him, let them do it. And then I hope. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to wish Mac Jones on JJ McCarthy. I'm not going to do that. That was wrong with me. I'm sorry, people.
That said, though, if they do somehow just nonsensically pick JJ McCarthy at 3, I think then you trade up to 4 for Drake May, because he is one of those. He, Daniels, and Williams are the cream of the crop of this draft.
So you saying Caleb to the Bears, and then the Commanders are getting Daniels? Is that your thought?
Oh yeah.
Did y'all see his pro day?
Who? Huh? Drake May?
No, Daniels.
Yeah, I know, but still,
I know
his talent and the Heisman, bro.
Heisman. But so that could be the thought behind this. Like I do like trading up for Drake May. I don't like trading up for JJ McCarthy. Now the whole what's his name, Josh McCown, that throws a wrench into this because we know he was Drake May's coach in high school. So like if they don't draft him and they have a chance to, then we know what Josh McCown was thinking anyway. So everybody can speculate. We can go all around the horn about that. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to – by the way, the movie Draft Day, I would love for the Bears to pull a Cleveland Browns and like not take the quarterback and go get like a linebacker or something, or go get Marvin Harrison Jr. Because if you guys have seen the movie Draft Day, they didn't draft the quarterback in the first pick and he fell all the way down because everybody got nervous. Like, well, what do you guys know that we don't know? What's going on? Everybody's calling everybody. And we know that happens. Was that Aaron Rodgers or what? Who was that who fell and they kept going to him in the green room? Remember that?
Rodgers?
No,
Rodgers
it was Rodgers, wasn't it?
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers was supposed to get drafted and they didn't. And he kept falling and falling and falling. Yeah, he kind of, his was bad too. I think people enjoyed though, like the zoom in on his table, because his table was filled. It was filled with candy. But yeah, no, Will Levis was one of them. But I remember Aaron Rodgers being really like, you could see his face. Everybody's wondering what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. Why are they not drafting him? What do you know that we don't know? And then long story short, it ended up working perfectly for the Packers. They got their guy at 24. He got to sit behind Brett Favre, and now he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. So, that's why I say don't jump. Just see who falls to you and make it work for Kevin O'Connell. There has to be more than one quarterback they like on that board. I'm sworn to secrecy once I see it and hear it. So I kind of stay away from some of the exactness of it. But I think there's definitely, I will say this, there's multiple quarterbacks they like. And so whichever one falls to them, I would do that. At 23, if you don't like somebody at 23, then maybe go double up on the second round picks because there's a lot of value in the second round and save money on those contracts. But we also got to talk about the Wolves and the Suns. We're going to do this quick in the fast-paced bonus round before we get to the Final Four, because I really want to hit on this Final Four before we have a word from our sponsor. But the Wolves are playing the Suns and the Lakers this weekend. First quick bonus round, 30 seconds, really quick. Predict that. Suns Lakers this weekend. What's their record, Reggie?
Ooh, no, I'll go 1-1. I think they can beat the Lakers, sadly. Okay. But I don't know, man. I'm scared of the Suns, honestly. Because if they are healthy going into the postseason, you got KD, St. Louis's finest, Bradley Beal, and Book.
Detroit's
like,
finest,
dangerous.
Devin Booker.
That's
put St. Louis and Detroit together, somebody gonna die. So
exactly.
Just saying.
Death by 1,000 3-pointers.
Exactly. 1-1, Sam. What do you say?
I will also say 1-1. It feels like this is a tough trip to sweep. But the Nuggets did them a huge favor by losing last night. So the Wolves have a little bit of wiggle room. I think they also go 1-1, and they probably beat the Reggie. How many Lakers are hurt right now? Don't they have a pretty big injury report?
So many, and then
Yeah.
LeBron is always game to game.
All you gotta do is touch his hair. He's hurt.
Sir.
Okay, that's pretty funny. That video is pretty funny.
Like, he didn't get hit hard to head. Nobody gets hit and then they're rubbing their waves. Like, he was like, "Oh shoot, is my hair gone? Am I good? Am I good?"
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that was not
1-1.
a hit. Like, if you get hit, you kind of hold it like, this is like, oh shoot, my hair. He took my hairpiece off.
Did you see his tweet? LaQuad, his quad as he's driving to the basket, and his quad is
strong.
he's just like, man, I gotta skip leg day a little bit more often.
He loves himself. I love it though. I love it. So 1-1 for Sam, 1-1 for Reggie. Julia.
Yeah, I'm going the same way. I think the Lakers are rested up for the postseason. So, yeah, I'd go 1-1 on this road trip.
I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to go 2-0. I am scared of the Suns as well, though. I fear the Suns. I've been saying that to Sam this whole time. I've been saying when you look at who you might play in the playoffs, if the Suns are 8, I want to be 2. If the Suns are 7, give me 3 or 1. I don't want to play the Suns first. The Suns are a dangerous team. Like Reggie said, is death by 1,000 threes. And Devin Booker at any minute, if you put some baddies courtside or the Kardashians, Devin Booker is going to go off. Like every time like Kylie or Kendall or Kim or somebody went to the Suns game, Book went off. And so like I would not want to worry about that. Like, and if he especially pulls up in like a 68 Cutlass or something or old school, pray, because his mindset at that moment is just it's like he's hanging with Ice Cube and Dub C and like West Coast Connection type vibes when he walks to the gym in one of those cars. Pray he pulls up in like the Range Rover, because that's bougie. Like pull up in the range. If he pulls up in the Cutlass or something or a Chevelle, I'm sorry. So yeah, I am scared of the Suns as well, but I'm gonna go 2-0. I think Anthony Edwards is about to show us who he is, and he's gonna beat them. And then yeah, the Lakers, they're hurt. They're hurt, and LeBron's barber's out of town. But another part of this Wolves Suns thing, I got another question for you guys. Another speed round question. When you look at all the first round matchups, and of course it's not done yet because the standings as of now, and again the Nuggets helped us out. Timberwolves are 1, Nuggets are 2, Thunder are 3. In that bottom part, you got Kings, Pelicans, Suns at 6, Mavs, Clippers. So the Thunder would play the Suns, Nuggets play the Pelicans, Timberwolves, if the Lakers and the Warriors don't win the play-in, Timberwolves play the Kings. I'm okay with that. A little nervous, but okay. And the Clippers face the Mavs. Who has the toughest first? We'll go the easiest next, but who has the toughest of those in the West? Start with you, Julia.
Wait, say it again.
So the Timberwolves play the Kings, Nuggets play the Pelicans, Thunder play the Suns, and the Clippers play the Mavs. So if you had a choice to play the Mavs, Suns, Pelicans, or Kings, which would be the hardest match?
I would say the Pelicans.
Ooh, so the Nuggets have the hardest.
No, yeah, I would say the Pelicans would be the hardest opponent out of those for sure.
And then flip that though. If you were looking at the bottom teams and you're looking at the top 4, who would you rather face of the Timberwolves, Nuggets, Thunder, and Clippers?
The Clippers.
Okay. So the Mavs have an easy route, and the the Nuggets have a tough one. And so yeah, if the Pelicans can knock off the Nuggets, we're the Super Bowl champions, baby. The Super Bowl basketball is in our grasp. It's there. But it's back. I haven't brought that back in a while. Super Bowl basketball, we're in it. We need the Pelicans to knock off the Nuggets. Sam, who has the toughest though?
They're all tough, man. They're all tough. I mean, I think the Mavericks would be the toughest right now, the way they're playing. Mavericks are scorching hot. And
8-2 in their last 10.
Especially, I know the Clippers won against the Nuggets last night. Thank you. But the Clippers have been really scuffling since the All-Star break. Like they were red hot there in January, and since the break, they've been pretty ordinary. So they have to play the hottest team in the Mavs. I think that's the toughest matchup for any of the favorites or the higher seeds. I mean,
I agree. Reggie, who's the toughest?
Man, so I get scared of playoff Kyrie. So that is tough. He just turns to a different level in the postseason. That dude is a wizard. But also I don't know. The Pelicans are scary just because, you know, Brandon Ingram, and if Zion is healthy, I saw he hurt his finger trying to block a shot the other night, and it's the craziest things end up happening to him health wise. But the Pelicans are a very scary team. But look, it's the NBA, man. Everybody laces them up. You know, I think that's what's tough about everything. And then, like, when the playoffs happen, teams put out their best performances. Like, I wouldn't have guessed, you know, some of the runs that the Heat have made on the East side, and they just make runs because playoff Jimmy is different. But, you know, I think they're all scary, man. I agree with Sam.
Yeah, for me, I honestly, and I like the comment. I didn't see the name, but I saw her comment. She said that Malik Monk is a tough guard. Fox is a tough guard. When you look at Michael Conley being an old guard, and you look at Anthony Edwards, I think Anthony Edwards can guard either one of those two, but that puts a lot of strain on him defensively. So that is a little scary. I personally would rather, sorry, Reggie, the Lakers or the Warriors get in to the playoffs at 8. And I would rather have them in the 8 seed over the Kings, because I would not want to face those two guards, because I love the comment from one of the viewers. She is right. De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, they are like, they call him Swiper Fox for a reason. Like, he can get going in a minute, and he's tough to slow down. He scored 21 the other night against Jalen Brunson. 29, sorry. Don't want to hate on those other 8 points. 29 against Jalen Brunson. He is a tough matchup. But they are the 8 seed. So there are clearly some holes in that team overall. We know there's been some injury. Who knows what Malik Monk looks like coming into the playoffs? Does he come off the bench? Do they decide to start him a little bit to get some early energy? But it's a tough, easiest, really quick, because we got a word from our sponsors. We're going to get out of here with the final 4 in the final segment. But really quick, if you're looking at the easiest matchup of all these, and you can add the Lakers and the Warriors in this because they can get into the play-in, who would have the easiest matchup? Who would you rather play out of all these teams in the playoffs right now? And I'll start with you, Sam.
This is kind of weird, but I'm actually going to go with the Suns, because, which is like asking for trouble, because it's KD and Booker. They just have been, their chemistry's been horrible all year. Like, they've had fits and starts, and they can't get going for some reason. I just don't know if they have it. Like, the season's almost over, and they haven't truly figured it out at any point. So I'm just gambling that that's going to continue, and they're going to be inconsistent in the playoffs.
I feel like if I say, I'm like, who would you rather play? Like Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello, or one of the Turtles, or John Wick? He would pick one of the Turtles. Like, he would think that would be a harder fight. Like, that just, because I feel like Devin Booker is John Wick. And then, like, yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to deal with them. Devin Booker, he will come back for revenge if you touch his dog. Like, don't do it. Don't kill his wife. Don't kill his dog.
Let's see what happens tonight, and then again when they play in 9 days.
Yeah.
The Wolves and Suns have 2 meetings coming up, so maybe I'll change my tune after those.
They're just scary. And even if they beat the Suns, they're scary. But I don't know. The Suns can get hot. But we got to talk about the easiest. Julia, who is the easiest matchup? You can add the Lakers and the Warriors in this one.
I'd say the Warriors. I just think, like, they don't got it this year. And I don't think Steph can carry the load. I would say the Warriors. I think that's a easy choice for me.
Reggie.
Dub Nation, get him out of here. Get him out of here. Draymond's going to intentionally tank it because his skills have eroded. So, Warriors.
If Wolves get the 1 seed, that is not out of the question that they would play the Warriors. That would kind of be the dream scenario.
Because how does the play-in work? 9 plays 10, right? Lakers play Warriors first.
Yep.
Is that how it works? And then do 7 and 8 play? Or is it 7 plays? Like,
7 and 8. 7 plays 8. If 7 wins, then they're the 7. If 8 wins, then they're the 7.
And then loser of the 7-8 game plays the winner of the 9-10 game. Yeah. So it could be Lakers versus Kings, or Lakers versus Pelicans, or Warriors versus King, Warriors versus Pelicans. Okay. So when you look at all of that, Yeah, I'm saying Warriors as well. Again, I think I forgot the viewer. She kind of put both in there. Zion Williamson is a tough matchup, especially when he hasn't eaten, because when he's hungry and he's slimmer, he is nasty. I just watched some of his old Duke highlights. I watched some of his plays the other day. He played angry the other night. Somebody posted some angry Zion highlights. The boy can go. He still has it. We got 4 minutes left in the show, but we got to get to the Final Four. Before we do that, we have a word from our sponsors.
We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. The sports calendar in the month of April is loaded. Baseball starting, NHL and NBA go to the playoffs, and the Masters coming up at Augusta National. FanDuel is the best place to get in on this exciting action. New customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet, $200 that you can use to bet the tourney, MLB, NBA, NHL, or the Masters. Tonight, the Wolves are 4-point underdogs in Phoenix, plus 148 on the money line. If you want to bet the Wolves for your first $5 bet, be my guest at the Suns, who I've declared are basically a cakewalk to win over. So do that at FanDuel.com/lockedon, FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make your first bet a big win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
All right, we got 2 minutes left in the show. We're going to go fast. Final Four, Julia. Thoughts on it quick, and then we're going to give I got some questions for everybody.
All right. Women's, I'm going the Fighting Dawn Staley's all the way. And men's, I don't believe in my Bama boys, but I would be excited if they could beat UConn tomorrow. That would be great.
Reggie.
Yeah, give me the South Carolina Gamecocks on the women's side. And yeah, UConn just seems inevitable. And now the whole adversity of their flight getting delayed by a day, Dan Hurley's going to use that as motivation somehow. They're going to steamroll.
Samuel.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be just like Mankato in men's and women's basketball.
Ooh.
The same team is going to win men's and women's, and it's going to be
UConn.
NC State. NC State.
Whoa.
DJ Byrne.
DJ Byrne,
He's gonna
starting
take it to
offensive
him.
tackle for the Minnesota Vikings in the 2025 season. You know what? I was thinking the same thing, Sam. I'm not saying they're going to win. I would love to see it, though. I would love to see NC State, UConn in the women's and NC State, UConn in the men's, just to create absolute pandemonium chaos across the social media world. You also have a former South Carolina player transferred to NC State, and now she gets to face her old coach in the Final Four. I would love to see NC State, UConn in both, but I think it's going to be Iowa for the women's. I do want Paige Beckers to get it, though, but I think Iowa for the women's versus South Carolina. I think that's what the world wants. The media wants it. The refs want it. FanDuel wants it. Everybody's going to make sure the refs know who to call fouls on. Caitlin Clark, you can't touch her. Dawn Staley's team, same thing. You can't do anything to them. Cardosa, just get out of her way. If she runs you over, it's not a charge. It's a foul. You were in the way. You were wrong. For the men, I don't think we care. Honestly, I don't think anybody really cares about the men. Nothing against them. I'm not hating on them. I just think the women have a better story over there. But I don't want to see Alabama because I think Julia picked them in her bracket. I want to see UConn, but I don't want UConn to win because everybody picked UConn. I want NC State to win it all. At this point, let's just go for an 11 seed to win the tournament. I think that would be fun. Wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you guys enjoy that? A number 11 seed winning it. Has 11 seed ever won it? Have we ever looked that up?
There have been so many big runs lately by those low seeds, but I don't know if they've ever finished the deal.
That's what I was wondering. We'll have to look that up. But I'm Ron Johnson. Today, we enjoyed having you guys live. Let us know what you guys think. Thanks for all the comments. Please check us out on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, 24/7, around the clock. I want to thank you guys. Have a great Friday.